What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another review. This time we're taking a look at The Mummy's Hand, made in 1940, 8 years after the original Mummy movie. I'm just gonna make this review as short and sweet as I can. Overall, The Mummy's Hand is just typical Universal schlock. When comparing this to its 1932 counterpart, you can tell which movie is the quality and which movie is factory made. The Mummy's Hand is a factory made horror movie. Now, does that mean this movie is bad in terms of its quality? No, it doesn't. I do think The Mummy's Hand does have some merits to it, but does it have the technical skill and the foreboding ambiance and atmosphere of the original movie? Oh, absolutely not. This movie, like I said, The Mummy's Hand is a movie that is pure universal horror monster schlock, and it revels in that schlockiness. Now, I would say this: The Mummy's Hand, it does have some fun moments to it. It does have a different mummy, but overall, I don't find this movie to be as memorable or as engaging as, let's say, its 1932 movie. I just don't think that. I don't think that whatsoever. I don't think the characters in this movie are the least bit interesting. The two leads in this movie are the main leads are these characters of Steve, Babe, and Marta's father. These are our four main heroes of the film, and I don't find these characters to be all that interesting. Steve and Babe are like down on their luck archaeologists. They're just there. Marta and her father, they fund an expedition to find the tomb of this princess named Akana of Ananka, who is connected to the mummy Karis, who is the villain of the piece, or should I say, the sub-villain of the piece. Like, the real villain of this movie is this high priest who pretty much manipulates the character of Karis by use of these tanna leaves, and pretty much the mummy becomes like his monster that he controls when he wants to eliminate somebody from a goal he wants to accomplish. Like, the mummy is pretty much used as a patsy in this movie. Like, the human villain is more of the threat than the actual mummy is, and that's one of the big gripes I have about this movie. This movie is just the mummy in name only. The title character doesn't even make an appearance until 40 minutes in, and that's when the movie actually starts to get going. Other than that, it's kind of a slow drag just to get to the mummy, mainly because I'm stuck with these characters that I really just don't care for. Like, I don't care for these characters whatsoever in the same way that I cared about Helen, in the same way that I cared about Imhotep, and to a lesser extent, the same way I kind of sort of cared about Frank and Dr. Mueller from the original Mummy. These characters, they're just not that interesting, nor that charismatic. However, I would say this: Steve and Babe, they do have some funny bantering here and there, so at least those two can be entertaining in some areas. The character of Marta, the movie tries to set her up as a love interest for the character of Steve, but I don't see the chemistry. And at the end of the movie, she gets kidnapped by the high priest Abadua. I can't pronounce his name, I'm sorry, the character's name. She gets kidnapped by the high priest that took control of Karis, so that way he can transfer the soul of Ananka into the Marta character. Okay, same thing as what Imhotep wanted to do with Helen. It's no different. All these mummies want the same thing. They want to reincarnate their dead girlfriends. I will say this though. I think the new mummy in this movie named Karis, at least they attempted to tell a new story with a different mummy and not rehash the Imhotep character, even though Karis' origin and Imhotep's origin, they're very, very similar in a lot of ways. They're just changed very, very slightly, and you have different actors. You have Boris Karloff in one, and you have Tom Taylor, who plays the new mummy in this one. And I will say this: the opening 10 minutes where we get the origin of Karis, I actually like it. I actually like it, even though 95% of that is just recycled footage from the original Mummy movie with insert shots of Tom Taylor as the new mummy. But it's knowing who Karis is and his origin and his backstory. That part of the movie I actually happen to like. But the middle section that leads up to Karis being free from the tomb can be kind of boring, kind of drags. You do have some funny bits here and there, but overall, I didn't find this movie to be all that interesting. But on the flip note, this movie does have some good production values. The movie does look good from a production standpoint. I like the sets; they all look elaborate and very Egyptian-like. And the same thing goes for the costumes and the wardrobe. That looks cool too. The overall look of the mummy, it's not as good as the Boris Karloff makeup, but it looks okay for the time this movie was made in. And that's the best I can say about the overall look of the Karras mummy himself. In terms of how Karras is portrayed, like I said, he's just a patsy for the real villain. The mummy has no personality when he's out of his tomb. He's just like this lumbering monster. And it's forgettable. It's a very forgettable performance. He does get some moments to shine, but they're few and far between. And yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say about the Mummy's Hand. This movie is lesser in quality to me when compared to the original movie, which I thought was much, much better. But for what it is, at least the Mummy's Hand does have some entertaining moments to it. It does have certain things that I do enjoy, but overall, you can skip this movie and you ain't gonna be missing much. And that's why I'm giving the Mummy's Hand a solid 4 out of 10. It's okay. So yeah, those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment sections down below. Like the video and subscribe, and I'll check you back next time for more.